Metroid remnants were attached to your suit when you returned from Zebes. They were reproduced from a piece of cell structure salvaged by the Federation, and they are in this facility.
Oh yeah, the Metroids are back. They cloned them.
I gave your suit a polish so you'd be at least somewhat presentable.
See? I told you that line would be important.
So the short long of this is that Samus had all this crap on her suit when she reported back to headquarters. The bitch didn't even stop off for a shower or nothing. She just stepped in and they're like, girl, your snatch stanky. Best wipe that shit up. And they did. Then they got Zoomer guts and Geemer guts and Sidehopper guts and Garuda guts and Space Pirate guts and Ridley guts and Metroid guts to make a whole mess of clones for the science project.
So this is a game about Metroid DNA secretly being used to mass produce and clone an army of Metroids for use in military applications. That sounds familiar. Let's see. What game was that again that did something like that? The one where they took the Metroid DNA and used it to secretly make more Metroids? God, what was that one? I think it was Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2.
But seriously, it's Metroid Fusion.
I don't really want to talk about it, and despite your best attempts to tell me that it'll make me feel better to talk about it, it'll actually make me feel worse.
So, if you want to play the same game but better, check out Metroid Fusion. If you want to play it in 3D, Metroid Infusion. That's the thing.
Oh yeah, and remember that adorable little bunny thing earlier? Yeah, well, it turns out it's Ridley. That's kind of funny.
But in order to control Metroids, you need Mother Brain's telepathy. You don't. You didn't recreate a Mother Brain clone, did you?
It's artificial intelligence.
Madeline!
So Mother Brain was used by the Chozo to, like, help control the environment and stuff and to function as a liaison between the galaxy and the Chozo. See, the Chozo were kind of like advisors to the Federation because they'd been around for so long and were wise and intelligent. The problem is that the Chozo live for a super long time, but this longevity wreaks havoc on their reproductive system and they become infertile over time. You see, the Chozo wanted to be able to unify the galaxy into one society, so they made Mother Brain to consolidate the data they had acquired over the years, so in their absence, Mother Brain was supposed to work as a repository for that knowledge. But it turned to a point where Mother Brain became self-aware and surpassed her masters, so she teamed up with the Space Pirates because they were still youthful. They were able to be shaped ideally to restore order to the universe. She also designed Samus' power suit so she could help with this. Essentially, Samus herself was designed to be a bioweapon.
So what does all this have to do with anything? I don't know. I just felt obligated to give you a history lesson.
A history lesson that Yoshio Sakamoto, who wrote the Metroid manga that I'm referencing, didn't take. The Metroids, along with the MB component, are being held in a place called Sector 0, and correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't this little image on the screen supposed to be Mother Brain? So Adam allegedly approved the entire Metroid project, but spoiler alert, he didn't really. He wrote an essay just what a terrible idea it was, and they co-opted it as a proposal to get the project going. Then Samus is off to Sector 0 to blow up the Metroids and Mother Brain.
But wait a minute! It's been more than 5 minutes without a random boss battle! Random boss battle time! Ah! It's fucking Nightmare from Metroid Fusion for some reason! Ah!
This next part is another walking segment, but I'm actually not enraged about it. The setup for this is actually really good. The angle accentuates the length of the hallway, and everything in this scene seems to be building up to fight Mother Brain. They keep panning to that tank like it has the Mother Brain in it. But, spoiler alert, it doesn't, and you don't get to fight Mother Brain.
Which is actually probably a good thing, because that would just be way too much fan service to handle. Why couldn't they come up with something original? You take the plot of Metroid Fusion and just tack on bosses and enemies whom we've already fought. This is like a fan game at that point.
I actually like this part. I like the setup to not fight Mother Brain, and I like how it keeps cutting to the Metroid's point of view, and I think the flashback to Samus finding the baby on SR-388 is pretty cool. When you look at her eyes in this scene before the egg hatches, they look sedated, tired, worn out. You can tell she's on her last legs and fucking exhausted from the slaughter that she had to conduct. She's probably going through some inner turmoil from killing off an entire species, especially given that she's had so much history with the Metroid. They actually share a lot in common, her and the baby. They're both the last survivors of a mass genocide, and they were both made by the Chozo ultimately to save the galaxy, but have been manipulated and altered to fulfill evil purposes. Samus sees this as a mirror of her meeting Ridley during the attack on K2L. That's when her mother, Virginia, made the sacrifice to save Samus, and her father, Rodney, detonated the Afluraltite aboard the ship the Space Pirates were trying to steal. While Ridley had second thoughts on killing Samus at such a young age, and briefly contemplated taking her with him, he ultimately decided to attack her. In this case, Samus is going through the same conversation in her brain. Does she kill this innocent creature, or does she spare its life and find a new, better home for it? And then what happens is that it's taken, cloned, and used against her. She then has to go through and kill it all again.
You see what I just did there? I responded critically to what I know about the Metroid series and made inferences on what it means on a deeper level with the characters. This is the best part of the game because you, the audience, are able to interact with it. This is the best part of the game, and it's not even that long. This is what the writers should have done when writing the entire game. Samus can speak. That's fine, but give her something provoking to say. Engage the audience.
Samus then goes through the same thought process again upon seeing the Metroid, considering if she saves this one, the whole cycle will repeat itself. But that's okay because Adam shoots it and her too for some reason.
None of this makes sense.
Hey, you said it, Adam. Play me out, boy!
So through genetic manipulation, the Metroids can't be frozen, so the only way to kill them is to blow up Sector 0, and the only way to do that is to cause enough damage from the inside, which could have been done easily with that timed bomb that I was talking about earlier. So despite that Metroids are invulnerable to everything but cold temperature, they can be blown up like anything else. 1, that's dumb. 2, Samus could just use a power bomb by that logic and save Adam's life. And 3, we see in Metroid Prime 3 that Metroids can survive in the vacuum of space. So jettisoning Sector 0 and blowing it up makes no sense because they can only be killed through cold. This game's bad. But no, Adam needs to die because that's what Samus said in Fusion, and rather than letting him live for this game and maybe making a sequel or a set of sequels where he dies in one of them, they just go ahead and kill him off now. Wait a minute. Didn't Samus say in Fusion that he died so he could protect her? What if instead of him sacrificing himself for no logical reason, he set up an escape plan with Samus and then died in the process? Like, what if he sent Samus to take care of the Queen, and in the meantime, the Federation were on their way to the station, but they were out to kill Samus, and Samus is surrounded, but Adam holds them off so she has enough time to escape, or has to crash his ship into another ship so she can just escape, or something.
Hey, I'm just trying to offer you some ideas on how this game could be improved.
Adam vanished. My best friend. The person who understood me best.
Yes, I remember how that was clearly shown throughout the span of this game.
I like this part because you don't even have to fight any of the enemies. They just go fly out of the vacuum.
Wait a second. There were no bosses in between that cutscene and Samus escaping. Random boss battle time! Ah! Numbers back again for some reason! Ah!